Women Polytechnic, AICTE, Tripura. He has received a Young Scientist Award for 3 years from DVT, DST, and CSIR. So as you can see, it is 2011, 2012, and 2013 respectively. He is also a recipient of Tata Trust grant and being a reviewer of Scopus Sci SCI indexed biomedical journals published by Elsevier and Springer. His regular academic activities is also guiding group of international students for their internship from Ukraine, Russia, Turkey, and West African countries. He has visited Goethe University, Germany, Royal College of Pathologists, London for courses, CMEs, and he has been expert in delivering talks across NIT, SV University, Central Agriculture University, and also has got several industrial types. So this was a profile of our expert, today's expert. So we welcome you, sir, once again. Yeah, sir. So on behalf of our NIT Arunachal Pradesh, our director, our participants, myself, and of course our sponsors, Atal AICT, we welcome you once again for this lecture. So I hand over this session to you, sir. Sir, please take over the session, sir.
Yes. Good afternoon to each.
Sir, is it audible to all participants?
Hello, am I audible? Am I audible? Let me see. Okay, somebody said yes.
Yeah, fine.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
Sir, the lecture session will be for 1 hour 15 minutes, then 15 minutes question interaction section.
No problem.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sir.
Good afternoon to all, each and everyone. As we all are teachers here. Just hold on.
Okay.
Okay. Am I audible still? I'm audible, right? Because I have changed myself from the mobile to the my internet. My
Yes, audible.
Fine. Very good. Now, what has happened is when I first came across about this FTP, one of the major theme was the concepts of newer microprocessor technologies, as you can say, as machine learning and things like that. Now, what has happened is, I myself as a biotechnologist for the last 13 years, teaching in various positions. One thing is very much clear these days, that for valuable or some kind of innovations, things are not very isolated these days. What has happened is, we are living in a highly interdisciplinary environment. So what happens is, a computer scientist is no longer a computer scientist, because it may be there that he is developing applications for bioinformatics, and biologists themselves are not isolated, because they may be applying those algorithms for highly mathematical algorithms for intervention of biomedical and clinical aspects. So today, the talk of this thing is, when I'll be sharing with you my desktop. Just okay. Now this is my this thing of the talk. Okay. Now there is substantial analogy between the machine learning and molecular learning. When we talk about it, what exactly we are trying to emphasize by means of machine learning? Machine learning is to enable the machine to think like human. That means more logistic way, and the major objective is to uh, 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 end up with a sustainable solution for some kind of problem. Now, similar is also true for molecular biology. There, what happens? As you can understand, and you can definitely be convinced that the molecular systems are highly optimistic, because in your body, whatever reactions are taking place, these are taking place in the highly optimum order. Meaning what? I give you a small example. I myself, as being a biologist, I cannot this thing myself to give you examples in this. So what happens is, I give you a small example. Once, when you take your food, before taking your food, everybody knows that human beings are having a particular hormone named insulin. What was its function? Its function is to let the glucose enter into a cell. So what happens is, the cell is a entity which is bound by a different kind of what we call barrier. I give you one more example. Inside the cell, it is highly polar environment. Outside the cell also, it is highly polar environment. Now, in between these two, the environment and the cell, there is a non-polar entity which we call as membrane. Now, this membrane behaves like a dielectric. Okay. Now, or a kind of capacitor. Now, in that capacitor, what happens is, there are unequal distribution of ions. For example, outside there is positive ions concentrations are, for example, 144 millimole per liter, whereas inside the cell it is only 12 millimole per liter. So what happens is, there is a disparity of ions. At the same time, there are many different disparities. Why? Because the cell was evolved in order to do some specific reactions which cannot be done outside the cell. And what is the function of the membrane? The membrane makes a barrier so that the all environment do not mix up. The environment remains as environment, the cell remains as cell. Now, on the membrane, there is a channel. That channel is needed in order to put glucose inside your cell, because what happens is, the glucose, which is a metabolic fuel, everybody knows. Now, this metabolic fuel must get into the cell, because inside the cell only the machinery is there. Now, how do they get in? In order to get in, they need to have a channel. Now, there is again a problem. That channel is such that it is not always open, because every time you are not eating. It is not that every time you are eating. There is a certain point of time during the day when you are eating something. Then only glucose is there in the blood and it tends to enter inside. So, when glucose concentration is high, then only insulin will also be produced. It is not that insulin will be produced throughout the day. It is only produced when you are having some food. Why? Because the food will get converted into glucose molecule, and that molecule should enter into the cell through the channel. Now, this channel is called a ligand-gated channel. Means what? Means the channel is not open. There is a lock, and that lock should be opened by a key. That key is insulin. Understood? So, this is an example to show you that it is highly optimistic system, and there is no wastage of any energy, mass, or nothing. Understood? Now, in machine learning also, the concept is same. Some or the other way. What is the main objective? The main objective is to find a highly optimistic and stable and reliable solution for a given set of problems. Okay. So if we see now, hands-on session on COVID-19 proteomics is just for an example, but our main focus will be how machine learning and molecular learning. Now, as I have given you one example, the insulin molecule do not sit anywhere. It only sits where the glucose channel is there. Glucose transporter, GLUT, we call it. Now, that transporter is only present in certain specific type of cell. For example, fat cell, for example, muscle cell, for example, what? Your liver cell. It is not present in your any kind of cell. For example, your skin cell, for example, your some other tissue, it is not there. It is present in specific areas where glucose need is highest. So, molecules are also a part of the learning system. They also learn things, and the learning is highly optimistic. It do not make any mistake. If at all something went wrong or something goes wrong during the learning, what will happen? There will be plenty of biomedical conditions or pathological conditions. For example, diabetes mellitus. Why diabetes mellitus takes place? Because the insulin forgets to open the door. That means what? The learning is distorted. For example, you have developed one software. Okay, for example, one face recognition software. What it does, whenever you come close to your computer, it will take a picture of yours and it will search on its own database. And pixel by pixel, it will identify whether it is you or somebody else. If it is somebody else, the computer will not open at all. Now, how do the computer did this? Because you have made your computer to learn how you look like, what are your facial characters. In a binary term, that is a different issue. There is a part for the coders, but for concept, it is very much clear that machines you can make a machine learn. Similarly, molecules also learn. So we shall do a little hands-on as well as a little discussion also. I don't know whether it will be very much this thing to you. Therefore, I'll give it a try. If you are interested, you can definitely able to correlate. One more thing. Now, as all of us are teachers, I consider that all our teachers are superhuman. No, why? Because AICTE wants you to be regularly teaching in your class. Then AICTE also wants you to do some kind of innovation and research. At the same time, your institute and your EA also want you that you publish some papers. So, a teacher have to do many things, and therefore, teacher is learning so much during the Atal sessions and this and that the teacher becomes a superhuman. We are learning in one hand and we are teaching in some other hand, and therefore there is so much of effort given by the teachers everywhere. Anyway, I'll be trying to make it as lucid as possible, because post-lunch sessions are very challenging because people will feel sleepy and this and that. So, this is the general concept. These are all classwork. At the end of the day, we are all teachers, and therefore we are going to teach the things in the class only. So I have used many classworks also in this my presentation. Now here, if we see, what do we see? We see that the machine learning is a bigger concept. Under this concept, there are different sub-concepts, or in general, we can say the whole this thing is artificial intelligence. Now, what is artificial intelligence? In very simple terms, artificial intelligence is to enabling a machine to think like how human beings. Now, in the artificial intelligence concepts is also compartmentalized into machine learning. Now, in machine learning, when we say this machine learning part has three different types of learning concept: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. Many of us already knows this. Now, in unsupervised learning, what happens is some kind of clustering takes place. So you are having a set of problems. Out of that, you are doing a clustering or classification. On the basis of the classification, you will find out what is the best suitable answer for your problem. Now, one more concept these days developed, which is deep learning. Now, deep learning is compartmentalized into machine learning itself, but it uses the neural network concepts, isn't it? Now, in deep learning, what happens is not a single neural network, but a chain of neural network, like human nervous system. In human nervous system, what happens? There is a central point that is in the brain, and throughout the body there are different receptors. For example, skin can make you feel hot and cold. Like your tongue can make you, what is the pH of your food. If the pH of your food is very high, what will happen? You will feel sour. If the pH is very much neutral, what will happen? You will feel like watery taste, or there will be no taste. If it is alkaline, highly alkaline, what will happen? you will have bitter taste. Understood? So these are all receptors. Your eye, your ear, everything are receptors which ultimately coordinates where? In the brain. Now, how do the brain makes you feel like you in Hindi movies? Many a times we must have seen that one person fall down from his car or something else, and all on a sudden his eyes are okay and everything, but the person lost what? His eyesight or hearing or memory. Why does it things like that happens like that? Your eyes are okay and everything is okay because there must have something problem in the brain. Because brain is the part which will decipher the whatever these things are you are getting, whatever signals you are getting, it gets deciphered into brain in a brain understandable language. Understood? Then what happens? It interprets the results and ultimately you are able to see. Means what? Means your eyes are not helping you to see. Your brain is only helping you to see. As we all know that brains are having partitions like your hard disk, C drive, D drive, things like that. In brain also, there are compartments, there is a cerebellum, and things like that. Every optic chiasma and optic globe. For eye, vision is such a complicated matter because many of our computer science scientist friends, they are working on this thing, image processing, and I see they are doing so much of effort for doing sustainable solution for various kinds of applications. So what they do is they do the same thing the brain is doing. They analyze the signal pixel by pixel, then make it into a binary code and makes the machine learn those codes and to identify a particular facial recognition, whether the person is crying, whether the person is laughing, and things like that. The brain is also doing the same. We are human beings when we talk about machine learning, we are doing a reverse engineering kind of concept. We are training a particular algorithm with some amount of data set, and on the basis of the data set, the algorithm standardize a method by which if you input any of your data, it will give you a particular kind of result. So these are different things of simple terminologies of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Now, where molecular learning takes place, this is also very interesting. Now, here what happens is inside the cell there is a very tiny part, a very tiny this thing. Many of my friends will be definitely have those ideas, but still I'd like to elaborate. So what happens is there is a part called nucleus. In the nucleus, what happens is a huge database is present. Okay, huge database, so big that all the informations if it store, it will take a building like structure to put all the data in today's advanced data repository techniques and all even. So what happens is in DNA, each and everything is written, that how long you will survive, at what time, how much amount of insulin is produced from your pancreas, then how long you will sleep, generally you will be having some kind of insomnia or not, at what age, a particular age you will develop some kind of coronary artery disease. Most of the things are written, okay, in your what? In your DNA. Now there is also an environmental impact on it. Now, I give you one example. Now there are patients who are highly allergic. Allergic means what? They are having dust allergy, this allergy, that allergy. Now the person was having, by means of treatment and everything, the person was very good. But all on a sudden, an environmental change took place. For example, COVID-19 situation. What happens is the person who has been normalized of his or her allergy, all on a sudden develops very severe allergy. Okay, and the person needs to be hospitalized. Finally, he or she may recover, but he have to or she have to do a lot of effort. Now, if COVID-19 virus was not there, that thing was not happening, because for common cold, dust allergy and things like that, this has been medically treated. But all on a sudden, a new entity generates. The COVID-19 RNA virus is such that it can initiate or it can switch a cascade reaction when enters into human system. It may happen that a person who was having very low diabetes all on a sudden becomes highly diabetic. A person who was having some kind of skin infection problem, all on a sudden he becomes or she becomes highly allergic to any kind of cosmetic or things like that. Why? Because the environment also poses some amount of what? Regulation, so that ultimately the phenotype is designed in the or phenotype is manifested. Now here what happens is, now DNA is having a 4-letter code. In binary you are having 0 and 1, but in DNA we are having 4-letter code. Now for 4-letter code, what happens? What is the advantage of 4-letter code? If you are having 0 and 1, for a particular instruction you need to use a large binary fragment. Okay. For example, if you want to type the letter I in your desktop, so you are having some amount of binary. If you are writing India, a lot more binary is there. But in DNA, what happens is, since there are 4 codes, therefore what happens is the combination increases so much high, and therefore a lot more information can be stored instead of binary. But there is a problem. If you use binary, there are chances that you will do less amount of error. But when you are using a quaternary coding system, there are possibility that you end up with some kind of error during your process of execution. I'll give you all those. Now, whenever there is a error, it leads to a mutation. Whenever there is a mutation, there are possibility that it will lead to some kind of clinical condition. That is different. Now, what happens is, DNA can generate exact copy of itself by means of a mechanism called replication. Okay, this is also a computational this thing only. It will do what? It will exactly photocopy itself, but not conservatively. Conservatively means what? If there is 1, you are writing 1. If there is 0, you are writing 0. That is called conservative. But when DNA replicates, it uses a semi-conservative mode. Meaning what? Meaning that if a particular letter is there, the opposite letter will come in context. For example, DNA is having double strands. In one strand, if it is A, it will get converted into T in the next strand. So the replication process is not conservative but semi-conservative. Now we will be talking about replication and all its application in my next, because it is not possible to complete the whole thing what I wanted to discuss when I will be talking about genomics. Now today we will be talking about proteomics, and so we will directly go to the end part. We will not talk about DNA, RNA, we will directly talk about protein. But here I just want to tell you one thing, that from DNA, which is the main copy of your information, that has an intermediary drive also. Now there what happens? Because you cannot disturb the master copy each and every time. What will happen? There may have some error because it is already error prone. So what you do an intermediate copy by means of an RNA. The DNA stays inside the nucleus. That is very secured condition. As I have said, that membrane makes a particular compartment unmixable to other compartment. So nucleus is the second compartment where the sophisticated DNA is kept very protectively. Now, but the RNA is present where? In the cytoplasm. That means outside one membrane, but inside another membrane. There are 2 membranes, like filters. For your softwares, you will do filtering in order to reduce noise, isn't it? Why you use filter? Because you are having plenty of data. In your airport, you are sitting with your hardware which captures image after image, image after image. Now, you are searching for an Indian person, highly Indian, or I am not getting racial, but I am giving you an example. Or forget it, you are looking for an African person who is having a particular type of what? Body complexion. Now, in airport, planes from Europe and Asia and China, many other places are coming. So what you are doing, you are taking picture of everybody. But your software is filtering out whoever looks Chinese. I am giving you a simple example, nothing else. please do not get this thing. Or you are filtering out all Bengali figures because you are looking for a particular result only. So here also it is same. In cell also there are two membranes in order to what? Filter out unwanted things, isn't it? So there is again resemblance. Anyway, finally you end up with protein. Now what is this? So this is the example I given in the first order. I given you one example that there is a ligand gated channel through which only glucose can enter. Glucose cannot enter just like that every time. Now that channel should be opened by a ligand. That ligand is insulin. Now insulin will look like this protein. See, you are having what? You are seeing a kind of thread which is mixed up, isn't it? That thing is protein. Okay, so this is the ultimate product on which therapeutic and biomedical sciences are depending on. Understood? Because whenever you talk about something in biology, we are talking about some results which is given by this protein. Because proteins are functional molecules. For example, your hemoglobin, your ER, your whatever molecules you are there in your body, these are all made up of proteins. If it is not a protein, some protein which are known as enzymes must have helped during the formation of that particular entity which is not a protein. Therefore, proteins are very, very important. Now, we are interested to see how machine learning has helped us to understand this protein in terms of its structure, its function, its phylogeny, and many other things. Okay, we will try to do justification to the topic. Now, here one more concept is very, very important. Now, what happens is it is from an old photograph and it may not be look very nice. Now, in machine learning, the regression concepts are very, very important. Why? Because regression concepts have a very simple yet very effective way to predict something, and that prediction is so good sometimes that it is even real. Understood? Therefore, the regression concepts are very, very important. Now, linear regression everyone knows. Logistic regression everyone knows. What is the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal is to predict a particular result on the basis of a background data. Now, the background data you can call as what? A training set, by means of which you are training your algorithm or your machine to understand something, to do a perception. Okay, for example, if you don't see somebody or if you are not seeing somebody but you are giving description, when you give description also, some people are there so imaginative they are that they can figure out how exactly it must have been looking. Understood? Like a forensic scientist do, what they do, they listen to the description of a victim, how this thing was looking, what is how dense was his eyebrows. They ask very specific questions, so it becomes easier for the victim to give answers. How deep was the eyebrows? Were the hair curly or not? Now this is how what you do. You are training your algorithm. Ultimately, your product will be a finished product. The regression concepts are so good that near perfect results are given. So in biology also we are using regression and linear logistic regression concepts in many of our softwares. Many of you must have been knowing, but still I have given a chance, and therefore I have a scope to discuss all this. So today, for the first demo, I would like to have you with a simple this thing of machine learning and how these databases are being maintained. Okay, so we shall what do is I'll close this presentation now, and I'll go to the simple this thing, and I'll give you, and I want all of you to do this hands-on with me if it is possible. What I'll do is I'll give you one link in your chat box. Okay, now everybody click on the chat box and it will lead to a database. Yes, I already, Urmila Raghuvanshi has asked, I have already shared it. Please click on your this thing, what you call is, click on the link and it will lead to a database. Now this database looks like this. Okay, now we are into the database. Now this database is maintained by Government of United States, and they call it NIH, National Institute of Health. Now here what happens is, many of you must have been knowing, now this database is a highly advanced as well as regularly updated database of biomedical research. Okay, now the thing you are seeing now is the chain D spike protein S2 of COVID-19 virus. Okay, now let me tell you what happens is, this virus is a RNA virus. The problem with the RNA viruses is, because I am a biologist and I have this thing to talk about all this a little detail. What happens is, now when you are talking about an RNA virus is such that you cannot able to predict its behavior. Why? Because if you can remember my first slide, I'll give you one slide again. Here is one interesting thing. See here. Oh, sorry. Here you see what I said. I said that DNA is a highly it is error prone definitely, but it is highly sensitive and it is kept in a very safe location in the cell. But your RNA is present where? In the cytoplasm. Now cytoplasm is a dynamic environment. N number of reactions are taking place. Understood? For example, glycolysis is taking place, TCA cycle, oxidation of fat, N number of reactions are, whatever reaction is taking place in your body, where they are taking place? Inside your cytoplasm. So the cytoplasm is so dynamic that if you insert 2 electrodes of your pH meter, you take your pH meter from your lab and then you put that electrode in your cytoplasm. Hypothetically, what will happen, at any, because cytoplasm, consider that cytoplasm is a large bowl and you are putting your electrode on the large bowl and you are looking at the display of your pH meter. What will happen? You will see microscale and you are having a very sensitive pH electrode, for example. The best electrode possible in the world. That electrode is there, for example. If you put it, you will see rapidly the ratings are changing. Okay, changing how much? From 6 to 7 or 7 point, maximum 7.2. From 6.8 to 7.2, it is changing rapidly, but within this limit only. Meaning what? Meaning that different reactions are taking place and subsequently the ionic environment as well as the pH is rapidly shifting. Now in that environment, if you keep your DNA, what will happen? You may lose many of your DNA. Ultimately, what will happen? Your cell will die. Now nature do not want this. So what she did? She produced a secondary molecule which looks like DNA, but it is not very stable. It is RNA. And it is also single stranded. Because why it is single stranded? Because it need not to preserve data. It only is why it's like a floppy drive. It's like a CD drive. It is only transferring from one computer to another computer. Your computer, the hard drive. Your desktop is a hard drive, for example, and that data you cannot rely on it. Can you rely? If you put a pen drive on your computer, the next day it will not work. Many a times. You do not know what has happened to it. Nobody knows. Many a times this thing happens. RNA is also like that, unpredictable. It have some very important functions, but at the same time, it is unpredictable as well as unstable also. Now, this virus is also made up of this molecule. What is the peculiarity of this molecule? Every time it will change itself. Now, when it will change itself, what will happen? Its protein structure also changes. Understood? For example, the protein structure looks like this. I give you example. I'll give you a little example. because time is there. See, I'll tell you what. For example, this is your board. Now what happens is, consider that this is your RNA. This is your RNA and it has led to a protein structure like this. From this RNA, you are having a protein structure like this. Okay, so we shall name it. We shall name it RNA1 or mRNA1. It has given rise to a protein like this. Now this RNA only undergoes a very minute change. For example, here only one adenosine. For example, here one adenosine residue was there, or shall I say guanosine residue was there. Due to its instability in the another RNA, the second RNA, which is everything is same only. Okay, here you are having, instead of G, you are having, for example, U. Okay, in this side. Then you know what will happen. A drastic change in the protein structure may take place for just a single nucleotide. From it was previously G, due to some rapid environmental change in the nucleus, what has happened? It has changed into U. And therefore, you will get a protein which will look like this. You understood? For a very simple change also, it could have happened that the star has become a little small. No. For example, little small. No, it is not like that. It will entirely change the structure of the protein itself. So what happened? You started treating a particular disease which looked like a star. But after some time, it started looking like a cloud. Now your medicine is not working on it. The same thing happened with COVID-19. Anyway, we'll get back there. Okay. So, is it visible for everybody? This database, can everybody see? Okay. Now what has happened is, this is your chain D of spike protein 2. Now here what happens, whoever, for example in China or some other place, somebody have isolated a particular what? Coronavirus. Now from that virus they have isolated the RNA. From that RNA they have isolated what? The DNA has been converted into a protein, and this database is for a protein. As you see, I have written here, it is what? It is named NCBI protein. Now this protein database is, they'll deposit it here. Just hold on 1 second. 1 second, please. So what happens is, we are talking about this protein. It has some steps. So we shall see what happened here. Now this, please see, this database maintains every detail, and I must tell you, this database, the retrieving of information from this database is through a particular algorithm. However, the GUI or graphical user interface of this website is maintained by means of HTML only. But the algorithms which is present inside follows this logistic as well as straight line regression equations. There is some certain search window where you put your MES or medical search terms, and then it will identify where exactly what you are talking about. Then it will present you some data. Then you have to curate which data you want. That means the noise. You have to reduce your noise, and finally you come into a particular data. Now this data, if you see, there are some information given in the beginning itself. Locus. There are 132 amino acids. Okay. Now you can see some other things also who have reported. Okay. Now you see in the bottom there is one thing, authors, as you can see. Now what is the authors? Means these are the people who have sequenced this particular spike protein. Understood? Now they also reported about this spike protein in a particular literature. What was the literature? Inhibition of SARS-CoV-2 infection by a highly potent pan-coronavirus fusion inhibitor targeting a spike protein. Now that was their report, which is published somewhere, and during that report only they have also submitted this particular sequence information to this database. Now you can use this database as you wish to do some kind of further valuable research, and you can even publish it. Now what the database wants you to mention in your research that you have used information which is present in this database. It is open to everybody, and it is highly collaborative. Even if you identify something, you can also deposit a sequence. There are some internal quality control. They'll identify whether you're depositing a true or some false data, and ultimately after some time interval you will find that your data is uploaded here. Okay, after several brainstorming sessions. Now what happens is, here you see, what happens is, in the last part there are some programming things going on. We are not very much this thing to it. We are interested in this. Let me go upwards. Now this is the whole data of a particular protein which is having 132 amino acids. What are amino acids? Amino acids are proteins, subunits, which ultimately give rise to proteins. The chain-like thing which we identify, we have seen earlier. Now there is one. This is the first page. In the second page, there is written FASTA. If you can see FASTA, you have to click on it, and then a simplified view of the structure will come. Okay. See, this is our simplified structure of the protein. Okay. Now here you see 132 amino acids where they are, and each amino acid is given by a particular term. The first particular this thing is G. G stands for a particular amino acid, glycine. Then comes V. Now, V stands for another amino acid, that is valine. Now next is T. Now this T stands for threonine. Likewise, these are signals of each and every amino acid that is present where? In the protein. From where it came from? It came from DNA, then it came into RNA. From RNA it produced this protein, and this is our structure of the protein. That means what? Means that particular virus must have a DNA, but this virus do not have a DNA at all. It starts with RNA only. Okay, now nature, during this thing of nature, in nature there are some entities which do not have any DNA. They have only RNA, and this is only the RNA viruses which do not have any DNA genome. They only have RNA, but there are no second organism which do not have a DNA. All organism, plant, animal, everything having DNA. Only the viruses do not have any DNA. Not all viruses. RNA viruses. There are different types as well. For example, hepatitis B, polio. These are all where your vaccines are very successful. This also I want to share with you, in case you do not belong to the biomedical background. Now, what happens is, whenever we talk about a very successful vaccine, you will see that all those vaccines are against DNA viruses. Okay, for example, hepatitis B is, as everybody knows that we are this year 2020 Nobel Prize was been given to whom? The persons who discovered a therapy for hepatitis C virus, patients. Understood. There were plenty of this thing discussion among it that who should be given this time, and it was found out later that the persons who are responsible for the discovery of a strategy to combat hepatitis C virus, not with the vaccine but with some other methodology, but they are able to treat it completely. Hepatitis also is a DNA virus. Hepatitis C vaccines are there, B vaccines are also there. These are all very established. Then one more, polio, the most celebrated vaccine of all time is polio, because polio is a DNA vaccine. Why? Because it is very stable, as I have already said. But for RNA viruses, you know, don't have any what? Vaccine. For example, for HIV also you do not have any vaccine, isn't it? So likewise it goes. We'll get back to this thing, the database. Now here what is there? Here we are having the RNA, the protein structure. But here you see the protein structure do not look like here. Here what we said? We said that protein will look like what? A three-dimensional ball of wool. If you are aware of wool, wool is like from wool you can produce what? A sweater or things like that. It looks like something like a ball of wool. Okay, but here it is not liking that. How it is looking like? It's looking like a straight line. It do not have any structure. It is only what? One-dimensional letter, strings of letters. Okay. Now we are having algorithm to convert this one-dimensional string of letters into a three-dimensional structure. That also we are going to discuss. Now here what happens? After this thing, I wanted to share with you about only the database. Now you do not close it. You remain this data open, and then we will go to our next slide, and subsequently we will go to our next part, hands-on. Now here what happens is, if you go a little down, here what happens is, this is also very important. Now you are having a straight line. Okay. Now here what happens is, the data are not the way in the straight line itself. The straight line is designed how? Because this is a most common straight line through which most of the data point goes. But it is not it is not that the straight line intercepts each and every data set. Okay. So you need to do some kind of what? Classification of your data. Now in binary classification, what will happen? For example, you are having two different types of classes. The instances are many, but there are two different classes. Then what you do? You put a straight line, and therefore what happens? One area is your shaded area, another is an unshaded area. Now in this area, all your data points are there. Now what will happen if there are three different multiple instances but three different classes? Then you have to do some more one versus all classifications. Then you have to do, it could be a straight line, it could be parallel to the x-axis, or it could be a straight line that goes through the zero or goes just opposite to the zero. Now these clustering informations are needed when we talk about protein modeling. What is protein modeling? We'll come to that. Here we will do a little protein modeling. What is the objective of that? The objective of that is to identify how the protein will look like when it is converted into a three-dimensional structure. Because what I said in the beginning, I said that the proteins will have a three-dimensional entity. Okay, like here. But we are seeing in result, it is not three-dimensional, it is only one-dimensional. So we have to convert it into a three-dimensional structure. Now here is the interesting thing. How exactly, why or how your protocol or your algorithm will give you a three-dimensional structure? Now there is again machine learning comes. We are going to use a particular methodology which was developed by University of London. Just I'll do the thing again. Okay. Now here what I'll do is, where is my? Okay. Now what I'll do is, I'll once again share one more link with you. You must have found it. Okay. I'm very sorry, I do not have a pointer. Anyway, the link is there. You please click on the link. You will get into another, shall I say, distantly located server, and we will be able to use the functionalities. If you click on it, okay. Now, what is our objective? Our objective is to change our one-dimensional data into a three-dimensional data structure. In order to do so, we will be using highly advanced machine learning protocols. The people who have designed the protocols, they have already done it. We will use the results only. Okay. Now here, we have entered into the database. Not exactly a database. It is a setup of an algorithm which is located somewhere else, but we will be using it through a remote server. What we will do, the use of the GUI, a graphical user interface, is so very simple. I want everybody to write down their emails. Okay, my email is this, and therefore it is by default chosen. Now everybody write down their email on the email address box. Do not click on anything. Just write down your email in the email address, and the results will be there in your email. You have to get that results also for the whole this thing task to be completed. Now, if everybody has written their emails, then they have to get back to the primary structure. We call it primary structure, which is single dimensional. Now here they have written chain D spike protein. So I want you to write down this thing only. COVID-19 spike protein. Okay, we are not in much detail. COVID-19 spike protein, you have written your job description. Now you have to write down the amino acid sequence. Most easier way, Control C and then Control V. Okay. Now after doing that, you put whatever by default selections are there, you put it as it is. The modeling mode is normal only, because we are not doing any research now. We will not do the intensive one. Otherwise, intensive one will take a lot of time. As everybody knows that computation does have its limitations as well. What happens is, because this mechanism is free, freely you can access, you can use this service of the Imperial College of London. They have put it on their website. And this protocol is such that it will convert a primary structure into a three-dimensional structure. Now, how do they do it? This is very interesting. So after the result comes, it will be very easy to interpret the use of machine learning in biological data. Anyway, so what we'll do is, we will do, okay, now we will do the search. You see, Phyre search, P-H-Y-R-E, Phyre search is there, then you click on it. Okay. Now what the machine is doing is, the machine is searching this sequence to its own database, which is maintained by Imperial College of London. Now, Imperial College of London is using a database, something like Facebook, something like Twitter. All in their headquarters, they are having big campuses in their headquarters. They are putting large databases of throughout the world. They'll produce data or big data. That big data will be deposited in their hardware, and you can retrieve information. Like 5 years back, any photograph you have uploaded, you can download that. From where you are downloading? You are downloading from your what? The database that is maintained in Palo Alto, California. Things like that. Here also it is the same. What happens is, there are very interesting things going on right now. Now, this protocol, at first we will see whether the three-dimensional data is already preserved in their database. Okay. Now, this may be true that the structure is already deposited somewhere in their database. If it would have been hemoglobin, it would have been something which is very common. For example, what shall I say? Some enzymes which are very common, everybody knows. Okay. If this you are searching for, there is a possibility, then instantly this whole see what they've written, finding homologue. Then number 2, now they are doing the number 2 protocol. What? Building hidden Markov model of sequence. Everybody knows about hidden Markov model because you people are from maths background. Now what happens is, in the first instance it could not find anything because in their database this data is not there. How could we? Because it is generated recently. Therefore, no model is there, and you are the first person who are making this model. Understood? You means myself, including you. So everybody is, now we are using a particular sequence which has never been deposited to their server, and therefore instantly we did not get any result. Now it is building a hidden Markov model based what? Structure. Now here it is the interesting thing. What is happening now? At first, it is trying to find if any closest possible model is there or not. For example, I give you, for example, one more virus is there which looks like COVID only, but it is not COVID. That virus is having this area, listen carefully, this area same, and also this area same. I don't know whether you can see the blue line of blue selections of mine. So if it is there, then what will happen? The hidden Markov model will identify that another virus's protein, and it will take only these areas where there is a homology. Homology means what? Analogy, homology, these are all similar concept. Means what? It looks like same, or it is same exactly. Now the whole story is not similar, but some parts are similar. So it is finding out what are the other models which are very similar to this structure. Okay? And it is finding, still finding. Now I am not sure whether it will end up with finding till in the evening, or it will able to do it. So estimated time is 51 minutes. Okay. So it is not possible for us to see the structure today. Tomorrow, I think somewhere in the, or today evening only, you will get your results in your what? Emails. Everybody's emails it will get. But so in our next discussion, we will use that structure to identify or to study some more things. Anyway, so I was there that it is building a hidden Markov model based concept. Why? Because what will happen is there are layering concepts, as I have given you, different layers. How these layers are being built? It is being built because there are some degree of homology. Now, ultimately, it will give you a complete result only. You will not get a result like one model where only this much is there, baki thing is empty. One model only this much is there, baki thing is empty. You will not get like this. You will get a complete picture only. How you will get a complete picture? Because by using multiple layers, it will ultimately result into a consensus model. Okay. Now that consensus model will have all the parts of what? Whatever the different layers it build, ultimately it will give you a final result which is combining all the hidden layers. Understood? Again, I would like to give you a little this thing of hidden Markov model, how exactly it works. It does everything to come to a conclusion. Hidden Markov model is different from some other concepts where, for example, in linear regression, what happens? The results are such that whatever is observed, that only is shown. In hidden Markov model, it uses a little intelligence. It also does some decision taking. Ultimately, because what happens if it is a linear regression like the database? Here, what happened in the database? In the database, if this structure is not there, no, it will not give you anything. For example, see. I'll do one more. Here, you write down one more protein name. For example, I write a hypothetical protein name here. Okay, I'll write what? I'll write like let us write something like this: COVID-19. Like a abnormal thing, I write Let's see what happens. See here, what has happened? You see what? No items found, because it is not using any hidden Markov model strategy. What it is using? It is using either linear or logistic regression concepts. If it is not there, it is not there. That's all. But FIRE is not like that. If it is not there, no, still it will put some of its intelligence and complete the model. Tomorrow you'll see how it looks like. But in the evening also, when you are free, you can click on it and you will find that hundreds and thousands of different models which are already there in FIRE's database, which is maintained in London. It uses all those models and ultimately cooks a particular model, which is, if it may be possible that it is not the truest one, but it is sure that your algorithm has worked very hard to ultimately give you a particular result, which is if not exactly same, but it is very much similar, and you can take a decision out of it. Understood? Now this is the concept of intelligence, how biologists like me, how we are using machine learning for our research. Now, okay, I was in this thing. Okay, now it is doing some more thing. Now it is working on transmembrane helices. Okay, I could not find in a particular way. Now it is trying some more other databases. It is trying to find. Ultimately, definitely it will give you results tomorrow. Now what happens is, in hidden Markov concept, what happens is, for example, you have quarantined one person for 15 days. He is placed in such a place that he could not see when the day and night comes. He do not even have a clock. Okay, he is isolated so nicely. He is only having food, sitting there, doing his work, and completely isolated from the outside world. Okay, now one person comes to him to give his food every day. So every day that person was coming, everything is okay. But one day he came with an umbrella. Okay, and the umbrella was wet. So he kept his umbrella outside and entered into the house and given him food. Now seeing the wet umbrella, the person who is quarantined understood that outside must have been raining. But it is not true. It may happen that it was very much shiny, and the person was using the umbrella, and somebody from second floor dropped some water on him, and therefore the umbrella is wet. But logically, what the model will think? Model will think that must have been outside raining, and therefore the person who is quarantined will understand that, okay, outside it is raining now. He can predict how it looks like when it rains and things like that. So that is the concept which is used by FIRE, this server, and this is very interesting for me, and I regularly use these things in my research. Hold on, excuse me for 1 minute. Hello. Yeah. So what happens is, and I regularly use this software for me, because there are many other algorithms, but many a times things failed. This thing do not fail. So we'll get back to the other thing. Okay. Okay. Now this is biology again. How exactly the proteins and the DNA is working. Now these things I will talk about a little later when we will go to the genomics part. In the proteomics part, therefore here also I will go to this thing. Okay. Now one more demo is there, but for that demo we need to have that protein structure. We'll do this little hands-on with a different protein. Okay, that protein also I have given you. I am sharing with you one more link. Okay, that link is not working. Okay, now it will work. Now it will work. Now click on this link. Link doesn't work. Why? It should have worked. Let me see once. If it is not working, I'll give you another link. Don't worry. Okay, what happens is many of us already know that like bigger countries, they can maintain these free databases and servers. EBI or European Bioinformatics Institute, which is present in Heidelberg, Germany, they are having multiple campuses. Now that institute maintains a number of databases as well as what do you call it, free softwares. Okay, all are based on machine learning only. Okay, without machine learning, there is no computational biology. So, okay, why it is not working? My goodness, if it is not working, not really. Oh, right, you are. 2 days back also it was working. Anyway, I'll get back to this. I'll try to fix it next to this thing. Now, what happens is, recently we have used machine learning to a great extent. As I was speaking with you, that EBI or this is a University of Nantes, France, developed collaborative application which runs on machine learning only. Now I tell you a little background of it, and I'll get back to you with a workable link. Now what happens is, as I have said, that you have designed a protein by using your machine learning. That protein, you are not very much sure that whether, okay, sir is saying that this is very good server, but sir also said, I also said that it uses some kind of what, some kind of whitewash, okay, to fill up the model, because its objective is very clear. It must have to complete the model. Now, while doing so, you may be skeptical, because you are working with a novel protein, that protein which nobody knows how it exactly looks. So when you are submitting a paper with a very good journal, you have to be rest assured that your proteins are very good. And if you are saying that you have discovered a particular molecule which is able to reduce the concentration of the spike protein, then it's a wonder job, isn't it? It's $1 million question today. So if you are reporting it, you have to be very sure that your proteins are also very perfect. So how do you do this? You have to do a little, we call it molecular dynamics. What is the basic concept of it? So in molecular dynamics, what we do is, we know that all molecules are made up of atoms. As the name suggests, what it does, it uses a particular force field to vibrate the whole molecule to such an extent that if some part of the structure is not very stable, it will get distorted. And therefore, the ultimate result will be a broken protein. Understood? Now, this is a kind of quality control that bioinformaticians generally do with his or her protein structure. So, this is not a single novel protein. There are plenty more novel proteins, because it is now this thing everybody is talking about. We have taken this example. There are plenty of unknown proteins or proteins somebody needs to be modeled. Now, what happens is, you have to do a quality check. Now, for doing a quality check, molecular dynamics concepts are very, very useful. Now, what it does, it vibrates the molecule, each and every atom of it, in a simulated environment. You can even change the time, the concentration of ions, the temperature, pressure, and many other things by means of this molecular dynamics concept. Okay, this also uses machine learning, but it needs a huge computational ability. Now, if you want to do it in a very limited process, we are having another concept which is called coarse grain modeling. So that link I shared with you was a coarse grain modeling. Okay, somebody said that they have finished it. Great. Please see what are the things you are showing. Let me also check whether I have also received it. If it is received, then it is great. Just hold on. I'll be stop presenting, then get back to my email and see whether it is there or not. Okay. Just hold on. Yes, right. Okay. Now we have received our results. So in the result page, you see. Now what they have done is they have used to identify. They identified it. I did not given them any idea, isn't it? What I did, see back how machine learning helps. What I did, I took only the letters G, V, T and all such things. I took only the letters like G, V, T, Q and all such things. Control C, Control V, if you can remember. Now this thing is so good. The algorithm, it identified that it is viral protein. I never said. Okay. Oh yeah, I given one name, but it did not use it. Anyway, it find it by itself. If you would have left it open also, it would have directly identified as viral protein. Now 117 residues. How many residues we are? 132 residues were here, but it has finally able to do a model out of 117 residue. As you can see, some parts are broken. Means what? It could not find any special or any specific what template. We are calling it template. Template means what? Based on which model your model is being built. Okay. Now, if you go scroll down, here no, the model dimension is also there in angstrom. A0. A on top there is a degree sign. Now, here what happens is you can find out how much this thing is there, what is the dimension of the protein. Now, if you scroll down and down, you will see that what are the different templates it used. Okay, and also you can see where are the parts. Okay, what are the parts it has identified. Now here is the machine learning concept is used. It has identified not less than how many? How many templates? Let me see once. Okay. Total how many concepts? See, 99 different proteins it has compared with. And after comparing, see, some parts are not found any homology, but in some parts there were different parts where homology was there. Okay, so if we go top, we see the change of this thing is changing, color of this thing is changing. See, where it is full brick red, it means that very high degree of homology is there. Understood? So how did it identify the homology? It used, as I said, the hidden Markov technique, by which Superficially, once it will find out whether similarities are there or not, then it will produce a distant matrix, and on the basis of the matrix, it will find out whether and how much similarity is there, and wherever similarity it finds, it takes that region, and ultimately by combining all such regions and by a consensus, what it does, it makes a final model, and some part of it may be missing because it has tried really hard, and this is your protein model. Let me see whether you can change it. Okay, now this is your protein model. Now this is how this protein looks like. That means this is the primary structure of the protein, spike protein, and this is your secondary and tertiary. Okay, now secondary and tertiary comes hand in hand. Okay, if you are having a secondary structure, you can space fill it. I will show you tomorrow or in the next this thing, that how exactly you can build a three-dimensional structure by using machine learning. We are not going into the mathematical details of it, but as you can even see that it used this machine learning and artificial intelligence concepts to do a near perfect model of a signal which has never been modeled previously, or a near perfect model of a protein which has never been reported also. Now if you do some more activity on it, for example, what is its molecular weight, and then how much pH it needs to get activated, then is there any molecule which it can bind on and prohibit its action. For example, what happens, this virus, consider that this is your virus, okay, and this is your cell. On your cell, as I have said, that there are what? Channel proteins. Okay, the channel proteins are like this receptor. Okay, the channel proteins are there. They are also known as receptors. Okay, on your surface. Okay, now what will happen is this virus needs to attach to a particular receptor. Okay, now here you see receptor. Once this receptor and ligand binding is there, what will happen? The virus will enter into what? Your cell, and it will destroy. It will try to destroy your cell. Now, if you are having an intervention, what is an intervention? What is an intervention? Intervention is, okay. Now, intervention is something like this. See what is happening. Can you see? What you are doing? You are blocking the attachment. If you can block it, an attachment, blocking is taking place. Okay. Once the blocking is there and it is stable, okay, now it is your wonder drug. So now what you did? You identified a particular part here, not the whole, but a very small part of. What you are doing? You are doing a small part. For example, spike protein. I said no.
सर ऑनलाइन में रही है, मैं इसको कंप्लीट कर दूंगा अभी.
मैं तो ऑनलाइन में हूँ सर, मुझे तो कुछ करना नहीं है.
नहीं आपको कुछ नहीं करना है. मैं जस्ट मैसेज देखिए.
सर मुझे मतलब क्या करना है एक्चुअली सर?
आप वीडियो ऑनलाइन कीजिए. जस्ट थैंक्स टू द एक्सपर्ट और पार्टिसिपेंट्स करके बोल देना है बस.
मतलब बोलना है एक बार.
हाँ. मैं आपको इनवाइट करूंगा, ठीक है? ठीक है.
अच्छा, थैंक्स टू द एक्सपर्ट इन द पार्टिसिपेंट.
एक्सपर्ट का नाम वो मैसेज भेजा है, उसमें देख लीजिए. सूरजजीत देवनाथ.
Okay. So if I go ahead, what happens is, where I was? Okay. So
sir.
What? Yes. Tell me.
Sir, it's already time.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. If you want to complete, then you can complete it.
Sure. Yes, sure.
Yes, sir.
Now what happens is, sure. What happens is, we have done modeling of a small part of the virus. Okay. So if you can do some more work that how this virus, if you can show that this part and the receptor on the cell, in between you can design a molecule. Okay, what will happen? You can definitely able to kill that virus, or you can at least stop the virus to enter into your cell. So this is the main objective of modeling. Okay. I had many other things also, but as I have said that it is post lunch and people are this thing. If given a chance, I'll be discussing these things a little larger in genomics part also. I don't know whether it will be this thing or not. If any questions are there, please ask on the basis of this discussion we made today. We had so many things to discuss.
Sir, you have.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, just a minute. Okay, sir. I think sir has completed his lecture, expert talk. Sir, thank you for this expert talk once again. So now you can take a few minutes to answer the questions of our participants. Yeah, sir. Participant.
Sir, actually, I'm not finding that summary page which you had shown to us, means after getting that result in mail. So where it is? Can you show it?
In your mail, or the best thing is, okay, fine. Sir, if you have not closed the page, have you closed that page where we submitted our query? Have you closed that page?
No, sir, I have not closed it. Yeah, I got it now.
Okay.
All
Please
right.
see it and read. Yes.
Okay, all right.
Any questions, please? It is just the bird's eye view that how we are using your things. If you are a mathematician, how we are using your things for our benefit. That is what I wanted to share with you. I don't know how interesting to you these things are, but let me tell you, these are the most valuable, other than your other things. This is the most valuable applications of machine learning, artificial intelligence, the biological fields are doing these days.
Sir, I think there are no more questions.
No problem.
Yeah, sir. Once again, I thank you, and also I would like to inform you that session chair Dr. Manaspatim Datta sir actually has come into our session. So Dr. Manaspatim Datta sir is currently the HOD of our CSE department, NIT Arunachal Pradesh. He has been with us since 2012. And he has done his research from NIT Arunachal Pradesh. So he is a faculty member and currently he is the HOD. So Sir Manaspatim Datta sir, if I just invite you to say a few words on this lecture by Dr. Surjit Devnath sir.
Good afternoon. First of all, thank you, Farnab sir. And thank you, Dr. Surjit Devnath sir, for spending so much time for us and sparing your valuable time to give such a nice presentation. And thank you once again to all the participants for participating in the session. And it was definitely very nice topic. And definitely our participants and co-research on this topic. And thank you all. Thank you, Farnab sir, once again for organizing this type of workshop. Thank you.
Thank you, Manaspatim Datta sir. Thank you for coming in a short notice. Okay, so we actually forced him to come. Thank you, sir, and thank you once again to our expert sir. And on behalf of our director, Professor Dr. Inkeshwar Mahanta sir, NIT Arunachal Pradesh, our Department of Basic and Applied Science, and on behalf of our HOD, myself, and of course Atal AICT, who has sponsored this program on behalf of our participants too. Yeah, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for this nice session. Hope
Thank you.
everybody
Thanks.
has enjoyed. So,
Yes, I hope so.
yeah, participants, if you have any doubt, you can always get back to him. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thanks.